Welcome back to the Hotspot, everybody. There's a reason why we put this show on just before lunchtime, because we not only want to build up your appetite, literally and figuratively, but we also want to give you some food for thought. Consider maybe some of the things that you're putting into your body and what they could mean for you going forward. And who better to educate you on that very topic than our buddy Jess Rosario. He is, of course, the proprietor of the Boka Box, and he is standing by live in the KUM News Zoom room, and he has this week's episode of Boka Talks, where we are teaching you how to eat healthy and how to live healthy. So there he is. Hafa Jess, what do you got?
Hafa Guam, welcome back to the Hotspot at the Boka Box. I am Jess Rosario. I am the nutrition professional and owner here at the Boka Box. And it is a beautiful, sunny lunchtime. And I hope you're eating something healthy for lunch. You know, when we start to talk about health and we start to look at ways to get healthy and things to do when we're dieting, one of the first things people do is they start looking at calories, and they start looking at ways that they can decrease what they're eating so that they start to lose weight. Now, yes, every diet focuses on a caloric deficit. It doesn't matter what diet it is. It could be paleo, keto, you could be doing macros, you could be doing whatever it is. In order for you to lose weight, you need to decrease your calories somehow. But is that all that matters? Well, I wanted to show you guys something here, right? I have 2 plates of snacks. Now, one is a plate of potato chips, and one is a plate of apples. Now, if we're talking about health and snacking, then which plate would you choose? Obviously, it would be the apples, right? Because we think that it's healthy. But these two have the same amount of calories in them. This is about 120 calories of potato chips and 120 calories of apples. And this is just one medium apple. Now, if we're looking at calories, then they both shouldn't matter because they're the same amount of calories. But I want you to take a look at something and understand something. Now, if I'm sitting at home and I'm watching a movie and I'm eating potato chips, this is not enough for me. I can go easy, maybe 3 to 5 more servings of this in one movie, right? And my body doesn't recognize this as food, so I'm not going to be full and I'm going to keep eating it. Versus this, right? Apples. Have you ever eaten an apple, finished it, and been like, oh, I think I want another apple? No, right? Because our body recognizes something like this as real food. It recognizes that there's vitamins and minerals, carbohydrates, and fiber. And once we eat that, our body will start to put it in the places that it needs to, and then it'll send a signal to our brain telling us that, hey, I don't need anything else. I'm satisfied with the apple. Versus the potato chips, that's highly processed, has lots of sodium, and a whole bunch of other things. Our body doesn't know that this is real food because it's not. It's processed and made in some factory or whatever. And so when it goes into our body doesn't know what to do with it, so it probably just stores it and it wants more food. So if we want to snack and we want ways to look at, or if we want to look at ways to decrease our, or if we want to look at ways to eat healthier, we have to look at the quality of the food we're eating rather than the quantity of calories that we're eating, right? It's always quality versus quantity. Now, how do you make sure that what you're eating has the appropriate amount of calories and also that it is wholesome and that it's real? Well, the first thing people do is that they go and they start looking at the packaging and they start looking at the nutrition fact label. This is a good way for you to look at the nutrition makeup of whatever you're eating. So like this is the potato chips, right? And a lot of people will be like, oh, it's 150 calories. Or they'll look at the sodium and be like, oh, okay, it has such and such amount of sodium or fat or whatever it is. But that's very confusing because honestly, do you understand how to use this? Do you know how many calories you need per day? And are you really tracking every single macronutrient or every single micronutrient that's on here? Typically, you're not going to. So I tend to look at a more realistic view of how to read nutrition fact labels. I don't look at any of the nutrition on the side because honestly, that's not really what I'm going for. I'm looking for something that is very wholesome and that's real. So I look at the bottom, right? And so this packaging says that these potato chips are made from potatoes, vegetable oil, canola corn, soybean, sugar, salt, dextrose, maltodextrin, made from corn, molasses, and so forth. That's a whole bunch of stuff that's put into this just to make that. Versus if I was to change up my snack and eat macadamia nuts, right, which is good fat, and it's healthy for us. The nutrition fact label says that it is only made out of macadamia nuts. That's it. When we're looking at nutrition fact labels, look at the ingredients. Less is always better. We don't want a whole bunch of stuff that's being put into our bodies that we can't even pronounce or that we don't even know, right? So look at ways that you can make your meals, that you can make your snacks very wholesome, very nutritious, and very real. Real nutrition is what makes us healthy. Real nutrition is real food, and vice versa, right? So look at those things that you buy at the stores. Get into the habit of looking at nutrition fact labels, not only the numbers for the calories, the fat, the cholesterol, the sodium, and the carbohydrates and proteins, but take a look at what makes up whatever you're eating. Whenever we're eating meals, especially at lunchtime, right, we don't have the luxury to ask restaurants or ask wherever we're eating at where they're getting their products at, right? Is it processed? Is it not processed? But I would always recommend that people stay away from fast food restaurants just because a lot of the things that they use in their meals are very highly processed, right? We want to eat things that are minimally processed, and going to places where you can really sit down and eat a lunch or a dinner and you're eating real food, that's way better than going to somewhere that's you're sitting in a car, you're going through the drive-thru, and you're just getting something that's quick, right? And yes, the issue of price comes into play. And people think that if you're going to eat healthy, it's always going to be expensive, right? But that should not be the mindset that we think of whenever we're trying to eat out or whenever we're trying to buy food. The mindset that we should be thinking about and how we should be thinking about food is cheap, right? If the food is cheap, why is it cheap, right? Usually, it's not good for us if it's cheap. So we want to make sure that whatever we're eating does good things for our body. Because in the long run, we want to be spending and investing in our health rather than spending money and going to the doctor and buying medication and spending money on things that we really don't need to be spending on. We want to invest in our health. So make sure that we're always looking at ways to eat healthy, to stay healthy, and that we're cooking with real food. Some of the other things that we want to take a look at is ensuring that we get, of course, exercise every single day. So make sure you exercise every single day, you eat real food every single day, and that'll help you live a healthier lifestyle. This is Jesse from the Boka Box on the Hot Spot. I'll see you guys next week.
All right, Jess, we always appreciate it as always. So make sure to check out the Boka Box on social media, won't you? A lot more where that came from, teaching you how to eat really, really well. All right. So